Now it's my pleasure to introduce our Provost, who is about to complete his second year. Would you give him a big round of applause?
Thank you and good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to present the Presidential Faculty and Staff Awards. The 2009-12 Presidential Teacher, Ms. Wendy Salkind, is an extraordinary educator and mentor, as well as an internationally recognized actor. For more than 30 years at UMBC, has taught acting, vocal training, and women's literature, and has served as vocal director and director for countless theater productions. Ms. Salkind is also a leader in innovation. As chair of the theater, she helped create the only BFA in Maryland and redesign the vocal training curriculum. Please join me in congratulating the 2010-2013 Presidential Teaching Professor, Ms. Wendy Salkind.
You think they like you?
When I was told I had minutes to speak, I really didn't know what I was going to say, because the only things that came to mind were, I am honored. And as soon as I thought those words, I thought, oh, that's so hackneyed, I can't say it. But the words remind me of three other words I talk to my students about all the time. And I say to them that the three words I most dread when you are on stage are, I love you. The minute those words settle into your body and they ride up on your mouth, slide over your tongue, and a lump of coal in the middle of your mouth, you are stuck. Bad soap opera, movie where one of the lovers dies in the end. Every time you wish you'd said the end, or maybe did, and now you regret it. All of that will be there, and you think, I can't, because they won't be true. So what I can say is that as a teacher, the quality of imagination and creativity that students bring into my classrooms. And I have the good fortune of working with a faculty and colleagues who are smart and funny and talented, and who indulge me when I want to speak passionately about pedagogy. My job is to teach students to be productive, and for them to be acknowledged for doing that job well. So many others on campus who do it well. That is truly an honor, and that's not hard to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. The 2010-2000 Presidential Research Award, Dr. Kachi Yip. Joining UMBC in 1970, Dr. Yip has made significant contributions to the study of China and the history of public health. In addition to publishing over 30 articles and book chapters, Dr. Yip has authored several influential articles and received numerous grants. He is one of the world's leading scholars on malaria eradication in China and influenced policy debates on public health issues. Join me in honoring Dr. Yip as the 2013 Presidential Research Professor.
Thank you. I don't know what to say. I remember, I think in the 1990s when I received the Presidential Teaching Award, I thought that that's it. But I really don't expect this today. I'm honored to receive the distinction. Nothing is as rewarding as recognition by I received in 1972, almost 40 years ago. It's just a great joy to see a transformation of the university into one of the best teaching and research universities in the whole country and the world. We are getting there. I've been fortunate also to be associated with comment that has always been of its message and also the most continual and study environment members. So you, my colleagues in the history department, they are now doing wonderful research into human history, some of the most exciting, I must say. Despite this paragraph, with something Confucius here. Let me paraphrase the of a 12th century Chinese Confucian scholar named Zhu Xi. To paraphrase, he said, learning and research is to extend one's knowing to the limit of one's knowing capacity through investigation of things. And it is with that commitment to conduct investigation of things I received this honor today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yip. Ms. C. Jill Randles is the recipient of the 2010 Presidential Distinguished Staff Award for Professional Staff. In her 18 years at UMBC, Ms. Randles has played a critical leadership role in supporting student success. She championed the first-year seminar program and the introduction to an honors university program, both of which have substantially enhanced student success. She has also served as a leader on gender and women's issues, participating in the development of the Gender and Women's Studies program and the Center for Women in Information Technology. Ms. Randles is best known for her collaborative leadership style and her creation of cohesive project teams. Please join me in congratulating the recipient of the 2010 Presidential Distinguished Staff Award for Professional Staff, Ms. C. Jill Randles.
Dr. Hrabowski, Dr. Hirschman, distinguished faculty, staff, and students. Yes, I have to follow my notes, otherwise. And the many guests today. I'm deeply honored and selected for this award. I'm acutely aware of the long line of distinguished staff in whose footsteps I follow, and I am truly humbled to be in their company. When I thought about what I could possibly share in 2 minutes, I knew I could not possibly reminisce about my 18 years at UMBC. To thank so many of you for all you have done, or to acknowledge how you have made me a better person, and how knowing you has helped me to do a better job. Suffice it to say, it was a great community to be part of. What did come to mind is a poem that the students in my first year seminar, which I've had the pleasure of teaching with Diane and now with Dr. Freiberg, look at. It's addressed in Margaret Wheatley's text, and it's called In the Net. Some of you may be familiar with it. So when I thought about this experience of community at UMBC, that came to mind. So I'm going to share a portion of that with you, and if I do, I want you to think about how that net extends to each of us in the room and beyond, and how each of those places it touches the jewel. The jewel is at every node, and since the net itself is infinite in dimension, the jewels are infinite in number. There hang the jewels, glittering like stars of the first magnitude. A wonderful sight to behold. If we now arbitrarily select one of these jewels in perfection and look closely at it, we will discover that in its polished surface there are reflected all the other jewels in the net, infinite in number. Not only that, each of these jewels is reflected in this one jewel, and so therefore reflecting all the other jewels, so that the process of reflection is infinite. We are each one of those jewels and are connected by the strands of the net. As I stand here today, I do so because of what is reflected in me by my family, my friends and colleagues, my faith. And if I have been lucky enough to accomplish something at UMBC, it is because of the way you have been willing to share your reflection with me and have accepted mine. The possibilities are infinite for each of us and for this community. I know there is much more to come, and I am grateful for the opportunity to continue to contribute. Thank you very much for this extraordinary honor.
Thank you, Jill. The recipient of the 2010 Presidential Distinguished Staff Award for Non-Exempt Staff is Ms. Dorothy J. Even before I finish, let me read the citation. For nearly 30 years, Ms. Anderson has served the campus with dedication and warmth. In her position in OIA, she plays a key role in nurturing vital relationships on and off campus. She also plays an essential role in the planning and execution of commencement, convocation, and homecoming. Ms. Anderson's concern is exemplary. In this context, she has served as the lead coordinator for the charity campaign in 2008 and 2009, years in which the campus set records for participation and funds raised. Please join me in congratulating the 2010 Presidential Distinguished Staff Award for Non-Exempt Staff, Ms. Dorothy Anderson.
I remember as a young girl roller skating up and down the empty halls of the finished Susquehanna dorm. At that time, I never thought I'd be reprimanded by my mother for crossing over Shelbourne Road, or that UMBC would become such a major part of my life. I transferred to UMBC in 1987 after working 7 years at the University of Maryland, Baltimore. My first 5 years here began in the President's office, followed by 2 years in the Provost office, and the last 16 years in the Office of Institutional Advancement. My years at UMBC have always been a bed of roses, although I see flowers every secretary does. But there was something that kept me here. That something is the feeling that I belong here as a member of the UMBC family. My coworkers and friends across campus have made it easy to work here for the past 23 years, and for that and for this award, I am truly appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy. Please join me in a round of applause for all of our presidential faculty. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Lauren Daybeck, Chair of the President's Commission for Women. She will present the President's Commission for Women Achievement Award.
I am so pleased. The President's Commission Co-Chair, Mary Hess, she asked me to present the following award to the effervescent Emma Sellers. Because not only is Emma one of the PCW predecessors and co-chair as well in the past, she's also one of my English major mentors and my friend who also happens to teach classes for my department, the Learning Resources Center. Emma, as a true leader and success story, has a long line of achievements, which I will condense into about a minute. She has served at UMBC for more than 30 years, currently in the Political Science Department, and provides program management and academic support while also planning events such as the All Majors meeting and spring reception. Emma earned 2 degrees while working full-time: bachelor's in English, MA in Instructional Systems Development. Emma passionately serves on multiple committees, both internal to UMBC and in her community. She's an advocate for diversity among women, African Americans, other minority cultures, such as on the Black Faculty and Staff Committee, which promotes understanding and collaboration of minority groups, and she's a current member of the Women's Advisory Board. Additionally, as someone who cares deeply about students, she justly earned the 2005-2006 University System of Maryland Board of Regents Staff Award for outstanding service to students. And she teaches a student success seminar and academic success for lifelong learning for my department. So, not surprisingly, Emma is active in politics as well, her church and her community association. All of these and more achievements that so many votes for Emma. It is my great privilege to present the 2010 and 11 UMBC's President Commission for Women Achievement Award, and please join me in congratulating Emma Sellers.
First of all, I'd like to say that I'm humbled, and it's an honor to receive the President's Commission for Women's Achievement Award. I thank God, Dr. Haggerty, and S for nominating me, and I thank everyone who sent support letters on my behalf. I thank my family. All of you are a blessing in my life. As I became with committees at UMBC, I became more aware of the issues in women students. Though I have touched the lives of co-workers and students in such a positive way, makes me feel proud. Now we are friends and we celebrate. You know, we as women wear many hats. Raising babies while working full-time, going to college part-time, raising babies and working full-time, going to baseball games, dance at kids, working while working full-time, going to college part-time or part-time, full-time or working full-time, and the list goes on and on and on. And let's forget our significant. We have to keep Sandy in the house sometimes, okay? And this list, as I say, goes on and on. We have a few stanzas I would like to read from my inspirational poem, Mother to Son by Langston Hughes. I'll be changing the sun to women, and it goes as such. Well, women, I life ain't big no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it, and places with no carpet on the floor. There. All the time, eyes and sometimes God we ain't been no light. So women, don't you turn back. Sit down the steps because you find it kind of hard. Because I'm still climbing. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Thank you very much.
Each year, the Board of Regents honors a select group of faculty and staff for their outstanding achievements. This year, Matthias Gobbert is the recipient of the 2010-2011 USM Board of Regents Faculty Award for Mentoring. Since joining UMBC in 1997, Dr. Gobbert has been dedicated to mentoring students. In 2005, he led the Center for Interdisciplinary Research and Consulting. It provides a full range of consulting services to support interdisciplinary research at UMBC. In his role as co-founder of the Center, Dr. Gobbert mentors graduate students who can gain valuable consulting experience and prepare for careers in industry and academy. Dr. Gobbert has also been instrumental in obtaining funding from the National Science Foundation to support research experiences for undergraduates in high-performance computing. Please join me in recognizing Dr. Gobbert.
Yeah, thanks a lot. See, I have to say, to me, this particular award is probably the most pleasing to receive because mentoring of students, graduate and undergraduate students, is at exactly the synergy of research and teaching that a research university, in particular one with such a strong teaching focus as UMBC, is built upon. And as I was reflecting on what to say here, it really needs to be said that this isn't just me doing it, and it isn't just me, students with whom I actually work, but you have to think the entire environment has to come together to enable the students to do these things. I mean, so Dr. Hirschman talked about the consulting center founded and about the experience for undergraduate science were awarded from the National Science Foundation. Now, any of these activities require a lot of support and encouragement from everything down from the higher administration, who has good things to say about it, all the way to my colleagues with their feedback and their help in making all these. And I acknowledge the staff above all for making it work at the level, from office supplies to people, like for the participants of an REU site program. It would be crucial that and finally, I have to thank any of the colleagues and students who were support and members of the committee, and I think there's one thing we should think about it is Marilyn Demarest, who for so many years in her role in the Provost office has tried to promote faculty both at the university level and beyond with such awards. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthias. I also want to recognize the UMBC faculty whose extraordinary work was honored with a nomination by the campus for the Board of Regents Faculty Award for 2010-2011. Would the following people stand as I call your names? Dr. Tim Topoleski, Professor of Mechanical Engineering. Dr. Shari Waldstein, Professor of Psychology. Also nominated but not present today are Dr. Kamal Sinha, Professor of Statistics, and Mr. E. Michael Richards, Associate Professor and Chair of Music. Please join me in giving them all a round of applause. I also want to recognize UMBC staff members whose extraordinary work has been honored with a nomination on campus for the USM Board of Regents for 2010-2011. The board will conduct for these awards later in the year. Please stand as I call your name. Connie Pearson, Assistant Director of Institutional Research. Ms. Merle Combs, Business Services Specialist, Student Affairs, and Mr. Steve Anderson, Manager, Classroom Technology, Information Technology. Please give them all. Now I'm pleased to introduce the recipient of the 2009-2010 USM Board of Regents Award, Mr. Ralph Murphy. Throughout his 28 years of service, Mr. Murphy has been an integral part of the Department of Biological Sciences. An alumnus of the department, Mr. Murphy has central responsibility for the laboratories that serve the students who enroll in biology labs each year. In addition to performing daily operations to keep the labs running at top capacity, Mr. Murphy contributes to the life of the university by tutoring students, participating in the Upward Bound and supporting UMBC programs. He even opens laboratories on Saturdays to help students finish their assignments. Join me in recognizing Ralph Murphy, recipient of the 2009-2010 Regents Award for exceptional contribution to the mission.
Thank you all. I did not to speak or write. You bear with me. 34 years at UMBC, I finally had an open microphone. If this scared me so much, it might actually be fun. My choice, I wouldn't be here at all. But I know you made the effort for me, so for you. I have many to thank. I'd like to thank family members for being here. My father and my sister, Wayne Miles. Dr. Getman, who gave me my first job at UMBC. All those responsible for my receiving this award. My department head, Dr. L, my supervisor, Bob Dietrich, in name only, who can supervise me. Thank you, Dr. Kowski, Dr. Hirschman, and Dr. Paul for being here. Congratulations to my fellow honorees, you all. It takes to make UMBC the fine university, one I'm proud to call my mother and my employer. And if I may ask one, and you can find the time, support the students, attend a sports event, take a show, stop by a symposium. The students work hard to accomplish their regular and extra activities. Our attendance, when possible, means a lot. Well, that's about all for me. I thank you all for your time.
Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Vice President for Institutional Advancement, who will present the Gobbert Family Award.
Good morning. The 2010-2011 Gobbert Family Endowment Staff Award honors an exceptional staff member who has contributed to academic success. Staff members are selected based on advisement, excellent teaching, creative application of technology, mentorship of students, and development of new programs. Recipient Ms. Sally is the Administrator of Academic Affairs in the Department of Public Policy. For 18 years, Ms. Helms has been committed to the personal, academic, and professional success of students in public policy. She's often the first person public policy graduate student encountered in UMBC, and she greets each enthusiastically. The social center of the department, constantly finding ways to engage faculty and staff. Helms has set up several programs, including a student handbook, events listserv that creates stress for students and make them feel included. Ms. Helms also participates in campus activities that support students, including PeopleSoft SA Academic Advisory and the Graduate School Coordinators Group. As a program, I can speak firsthand about Sally's commitment to students. Join me in recognizing Ms. Sally Helms, recipient of the 2010-2011 Gobbert Family Endowment.
Okay, so the good news is fast. So, frame it and then you can just eat and enjoy yourselves. I have 2 minutes currently. First, I'll say thank you very much for this award. I'm truly honored. When Ann asked me if I wanted to be nominated, I was a little reluctant. I said, oh my goodness, there's so many wonderful people on this campus. The staff here is extraordinary. You know, I'm not sure if I want to. Well, a lot of people will be nominated, so don't worry, you probably won't win. and then she said, well, but don't worry, there's no speech involved. It's a word. So I said, well, okay then. So afterwards we laughed because we said, I won and I have to give a speech. But truly, Anne, thank you. She wrote some lovely things about me, and I know Don supported that and everybody in the department. I wouldn't be up here if it weren't for Stanley Jakubik and his family for creating this award. I think that's wonderful that he did that. And I've had email correspondence with him since this award was given, and I'd like to share a brief portion of his letter, personal letter to me. I have always marveled at the commitment of the UMBC staff, who play such a huge role in the academic success of students, who provide the critical services outside the classroom, and who manage the structures that allow our students and faculty to attain full advantage of all this university has to offer. I hope this award, in some small measure, makes you aware of how valued you are and your staff colleagues at UMBC. I feel that it is through all the cooperation of all of our departments as a team, our faculty, our staff, our administrators, and our students, that the students are able to achieve their academic success and goals. And no one part of us, not the staff, not the faculty, not the students alone, could do this. So it's all our energy, working as a team, exuberance and enthusiasm. I have really found that at UMBC, and I've been honored to be here in this job for 18 years. And thank you for that. Thank you, Freeman, for being so inspiring. I'd like to thank personally Pam Mullen and Anne Mullen and Don Norris and Todd and Deb Year, there, Linda Brown and Gay Warshaw and Marv Mendel, all the wonderful, and Adele, all the wonderful faculty and staff in our UMBC department. And they're wonderful every day, and it's just a joy to be there. The public policy students, Greg included, are just wonderful, and I love being there. I honestly love it. I wouldn't have stayed so long if I didn't love it so much. Finally, I actually would like to thank my parents. My father is here today, over there, and I'm going to tell his age. He's 85. And my mom's at home and couldn't come, but my father's here, and I just would like to thank them for educating 5 children in college degrees, all of them, and the sacrifices that parents make for their children so they can get college degrees, and the example set for their children to give to others and to be kind-hearted and good people. So, thanks, Dad.
Very, very nice. Sally, your dad looks really good. He really does. Listen, I know all of you feel the same sense of inspiration that I feel, beginning with Wendy, ending with Sally, as each person spoke from the heart about what they do here, about you. So before we go any further, I'm going to ask us all to stand and give them all a round of applause for inspiring us so. If you go to different campuses, you can get a sense of how healthy the place is by the language people use and whether or not people seem to be proud of other people beyond themselves. And what you saw today was the great pride that each department had and people from those units, but the pride people had across the board. You hear Ralph talking about inspiring our students, encouraging our students to go to a theater production, to a show, or to an athletic facility. It's the idea that we take pride in our own units, but we also take pride in the community, the university itself, and the whole, and in supporting our students and research. I will take just a few minutes and give you some highlights on our achievements so far this year. But before I begin, I'd like to talk a moment about the founding chancellor of UMBC. I had the privilege of going to the viewing last week of Alvin Kuhn, and his children wanted to talk to me about their experiences when the university was being built. And one of my mentees, Julie, who is his granddaughter, who's a student here now, was kind of carrying me around to meet everybody. And then I went over to Dr. Kuhn, to Alvin, and they wanted me to know that there was discussion after he had passed about what would be on his lapel, because he had been at College Park for years. He had become the chancellor of UMBC during the time at first that he was also chancellor here. But his daughter said there was only one pin he wanted on his lapel in the coffin, and that was UMBC. That love he had for this place was very special. Remember, he was involved in the planning, the development, the construction, the first buildings. He and other founding members of this community envisioned the kind of campus we have become. He was a person of extraordinary capacity, and as recent as a few weeks ago, he had called me just to say how proud he was of UMBC. He regularly called to talk about, even after he was blind and people would read to him from the paper, he wanted me to know just how special this place was to him. He was at the memorial service for the wife of Homer Shamp, sitting in the back, and I remember talking about them then, saying how proud we all were that we could have our founding chancellor among us. And he had tears, and so did I. And so, would you join me in a moment of silence for a great American, a wonderful educator, and a fine human being? Thank you very much. This has been a special year. It began when Connie Pearson had gotten the private information that they'd gotten a list of all the top up-and-coming schools, and she wanted to give me that news the day of the retreat, and she looked at me with tears in her eyes, and she said, "We're #1." Wow. And I just got dizzy. I literally got dizzy thinking about it. And then we saw the list, and it had the top national universities and a commitment to teaching high-quality undergraduate teaching, and it was Dartmouth and Princeton, and third was Yale, and tied for fourth place with Stanford was UMBC. Give yourselves another big round of applause. And then the category came up, and it was a commitment to undergrad research. So Diane Lee and all the folks involved in that work, Elliot, the faculty here who work as we get ready for this next doubling of activities involving undergraduates in research. And amazingly, the list was unranked, but it began with Caltech and ended with Williams, and in the middle there, UMBC again. Another big hand. It was such a big, it was amazing. It really was. I had President asking how much money we had paid U.S. News to get that. Well, the reason it's happening is that people around the country are recognizing, coming to campus, and appreciating what the faculty and staff on this campus do, and how well our students are achieving at the best institutions in the country. I was at MIT 2 days ago, and in the middle of my speech, several UMBC graduates came in just because they'd heard I was there, and doing superbly in PhD programs, and amazingly, I stopped to let them introduce themselves. People said, "Now, how much did you pay them to come and say these things?" Right? And I said, "I promise you I didn't." And so, almost half, 45% of our students go immediately to grad school. Already this year, I've gotten emails from people who've been accepted to the Harvard MIT MD PhD program, all the way over to the Harvard Law program with the grad degree in public policy. Give our students and faculty a hand for doing such a superb job. Really pleased that we are establishing our own chapter of Kappa Phi, the oldest collegiate honor society that recognizes excellence across disciplines. And I want to take a moment and get you to join me in thanking Marilyn Demarest for decades of excellence at UMBC. Where's Marilyn Demarest? Thank you, Marilyn. Would you give her a hand? Some of you saw that Princeton Review named us among the top undergrad game development programs in the country. country, and that really goes to the credit of Mark Orlando and Neil McDonald, faculty members in computer science. We appreciate what they're doing. I want to congratulate Robert Provine and Michael Summers for becoming AAAS Fellows, the American Association for the Advancement of Science. Other fellows include Sandra Herbert, Anthony Johnson, Thomas Cronin, Rick Welch, and Govind Rao, and the list goes on as time goes on. I want to congratulate the Center for History Education. They received their 7th $1 million grant from the U.S. Department of Education to continue their work with teachers. It is a major achievement. We've now touched over 40,000 students in Maryland. Give that department, that rowdy history department, a hand. And there are all kinds of great stories about new books and books being translated. I see here that Anna Shields' book has been translated into Chinese, and Konstantin Vaporis' book has been translated into Japanese. I've just said to the Provost, and I really would like us to take the annual reports with all of the publications, particularly books, and to compile a list that we can put on the web, because the list goes on when we think about the research of our faculty. I do want to take one example of just fascinating quality. Some of you have seen Corbett's new book, The Poker Bride. It's been featured in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and other publications. Actually, as good as the book is, when I heard him reading and talking, I mean, I'm a Southerner, so I appreciate people who can give good stories. And if you've not heard Chris Corbett tell a story, you've got to be in the room when he weaves that story. I mean, it will pull you into the book. And so Chris is to be congratulated. And then I had the great pleasure of being given a copy of Raphael's new book, Raphael Falco, in that same English department. It's entitled Charisma and Myth. Fascinating read, and I promised him I was going to work through it so I could have plenty of questions for him. But it shows you just the range of research interest and of achievements in just one department, English. I want to congratulate Scott Farrow. Again, he received the MacArthur Foundation grant to launch the scholarly journal examining social policy involving environment, health, energy, natural hazards, and terrorism. And then Theodore Gugusi in physics received the NSF Career Award. Since the year 2000, we've had 13 faculty to get that NSF Career Award. That's the top award for young faculty in the country. Would you please join me in congratulating the chess team, the national championship again, and Alan Sherman, faculty member who works with them. We just had the swimming and diving team at the President's Council. They won the American East Championship for the 7th year in a row. Really want to congratulate our alum, Chad Craddock, that he does, and that. Give Chad and swimming and diving a hand, would you please? And we just got the news that 2 of our undergraduates have just received the Goldwater Scholarship, Jeffrey Clapp and Nathaniel Kim. Nathaniel majoring interestingly in chemistry and political science. These are some of the most prestigious awards in the country. And you've seen that Binyam Kinde will be going to a conference for Nobel Prize winners. And he's trying to decide right now between Hopkins and Harvard, MD, PhDs. Some people have to do it, right? It's just really hard making those hard decisions. And then sophomore arts student John Shove, the Independent Game Festival Award for Excellence in Video. If you don't know it, it's a major coup for an undergraduate because that IGF, as it's called, is known as the Sundance Film Festival of Video Game Development. We're very proud of that award. And historical studies graduate Susan McDonough was awarded the Newberry Library Fellowship, which is very prestigious, and has a stipend of over $50,000. And she'll be completing her thesis on medieval history. Tell her she can give us a donation if she wants to with some of that money. Anyway, we were named to the Presidential Honor Roll for Community Service for the 3rd consecutive year. I want to congratulate the Shriver Center, and the Office of Residential Life received the Association of College and University Housing Officers Outstanding Service Award. If you don't know it, the fact is that we cannot build residence halls fast enough. And I really want to give Student Life a hand for the remarkable job they're doing across the areas with our students. But in particular, when you look at the housing area, the fact is that we'll have another facility for another standing for another 200, but we will continue to build. The campus becomes more residential, and it makes a big difference. So give those people in housing and Student Life a hand. Would you please? fact, Jen Dress from Student Life just received the top award in this state. And then the UMBC magazine captured a number of awards from the Council for the Advancement and Support of Education for staff writing and design. It's especially impressive that our magazine would be getting national awards given that it's very young. But that is due to the really great work of Richard and Jim and Jenny and Michelle, Aaron and Melissa, most of whom are UMBC graduates. They're getting awards for the magazine and for the View book. Give them a hand, would you please? Many of you are serving in all kinds of commissions and helping with work in many places. I want to commend one who has really made a commitment. One of our own has just gone on the Baltimore City School Board, and I'm very proud of Lisa Auction. Would you give her a hand for that, please? Very nice. If she said, oh, she's doing that. Finally, if you don't know it, our staff were unbelievable. Our faculty were unbelievable. All of you worked really hard during the blizzard. Faculty were working with students through technology. Staff members spent nights here. Would you give all of the people who worked so hard a hand for all that they did during the blizzard? Really impressive. So I went to a celebration. There was a little breakfast for people from facilities and physical plant of all the people who had stayed. And what they did that was fascinating was people got up to tell stories during the blizzard. And they were true Southerners too. They had great stories to tell, including when one of the vehicles really caught on fire. It was so overused, it caught on fire. Thank goodness nobody was hurt, but it was an amazing story. And then I want to thank everyone involved in sustainability. Our climate committee task force helped us to complete our climate change action plan for the campus, and we are now engaged in a number of activities designed to reduce the carbon footprint. Lynn Schaefer and Tim McConnell get special praise. Would you give the co-chairs a hand for that? When we said some years ago that we were going to try to raise $100 million, when 20 years ago this campus had never raised $1 million, people thought we were crazy. We're now at $106 million. Give Greg Simmons and all the team members and everybody involved really $106 million. And even in these difficult times, we have raised $7 million. So we are making extraordinary progress. And then the final point. I think it's especially significant that my friend and colleague, Wendy Salkind, is sitting on this stage today because we have had so many conversations about the arts and humanities for the past 20-some years. And so it is very special today that I can say to you, we will be breaking ground on the Arts and Humanities building in June. Give everybody a big hand. The governor, the legislature, all of you have been so involved in making this happen. And this is what I want you to know. Some people have said to me, well, is it the right message to be talking about the national visibility and #1 in this and whatever when the budgets are being cut? Doesn't that send the message somehow that we don't need money? No, we need much more money. People are stretched. People are stretched. Nobody likes a furlough day. I know that, all right? People are stretched. You're doing the job of two in many cases. Bigger campuses have many more people. When people leave our campus and go to bigger campuses, wherever they might be, they always call back and say, my God, they've got 3 people doing what I was doing with 1 person at UMBC. We know that you are really good, that you're working very hard. And the challenge we face as the economy comes back is to make sure the state appreciates the quality of this jewel in the system. We are a jewel in the system. I mean, we are getting this national recognition. We would not be getting this building if it were not for the fact that people respect the quality of the education and research at UMBC. People respect the commitment of the people. We don't have the political clout of some, but we have the respect of all because of the excellence that we really strive towards all the time. So keep the thought that we will be in a better shape. As the economy comes back, people will be impressed by what we're doing more and more people who are not graduates of UMBC are calling me constantly, talking about getting sons and daughters into this place. And so we will get that additional fund, those additional funds. They will come. The final point about commitment, it's amazing that faculty and staff this year have already given us gifts and pledges over $100,000, and that all of you together helped us to raise $172,000 with 1,100 donors, leadership from a variety of people on this campus, and the faculty and staff senate. Would you give all of yourselves a hand for the Maryland Charity Campaign? And so, final point. These are still tough times. We know that. I am working to help people find jobs every day. People without a college degree, people with PhDs are out of work. Large numbers, millions of Americans are out of work, and they call us all the time, my office and around, trying to find jobs. The only thing I can tell you is we are committed to helping other people, of course, whenever we can, to make connections, but we are committed to doing everything we can to keeping our community intact. I want faculty and staff and students to know this place cares so much about each other that as we go through legislative session, as we talk about challenges with the budget, we will do everything we can to make sure you have a job, number one, and number two, to make sure this environment is as productive and as supportive of you as possible. And so I'll end with what I always say. It is an honor to be a part of UMBC. Thank you all very much.